All right, you'll have to forgive me. I didn't delete my scribble. I thought I did. I didn't. Day 24. Day 24. I don't know what it's gonna be called yet. Um, so it's dinner time. It's also bedtime. And it's also art time. So we're gonna be doing a little bit of two of the three of those things. I'm gonna be eating and sleeping. Good night. No, clearly I'll be drawing. And eating. You'll have to pardon me. I'm very hungry. I've been cooking for the last 35 minutes, maybe actually longer than that, maybe an hour. Um, so yesterday we were kind of talked about Powerpuff Girl drawings for like a costume, and then I was like passing the fuck out at the end. I don't know what was going on. So I was thinking about drawing those today, but now that I'm like awake and not stupid, I'm gonna pass on that. Instead, we're gonna just sit here and try and figure out what we want to draw. I don't know what I want to draw. And it's a little disconcerting. Ignore the sound effects. I have two different drinks and food. Okay? Chill. Goddamn right, I just drew some fingerless gloves. Um, I'm a noisy eater. I apologize. I've been on a pretty brutal cut the last, I don't know, 2 months. Like a stupid, like not actually effective cut long term, but I just wanted to get a specific look for specific things, aka floating the river. And I almost attained those, and I don't think I'm gonna be floating the river again this winter, this summer. So I've kind of just like gorged myself the last 2 days. Not really intentionally, it just happened. And now I'm just hungry all the time. Um, the other day went really well when I was just drawing things I was familiar with at the moment. I was slightly inebriated, or now that I'm sober, I have too many options in front of me for things to draw, and it scares me. What about a tie? Can we draw a nice little tie here? Basically, you draw a carrot, right? And then you draw your little neck hole, right? There you go. That looks kind of like a tie, right? So if you're curious to know what I'm eating for dinner, sucks to suck, nerd. No, I'm having tortillas. I made some homemade tortillas tonight. And they are delicious. They're coated in a light layer of butter because one of my roommates ate almost all my butter and hasn't replaced the butter in the dish, really, is a problem. and it's all like my butter, so it's not like a huge deal. But I'd like to slather them in butter, and I didn't have the opportunity to do that tonight because they were all the butter was pretty much gone. The circle made it look worse, but this is supposed to be the pan that I was cooking on. Trying to imply that there's some degree of lighting slightly to the right of this. You know what I mean? But I don't think it's really coming out that way. I don't know. How is like drunk me more okay with drawing and like kind of better at it? You know what I mean? Like if you go back and you look at day 22, it's pretty good. Yeah, I'm drawing a tortilla, okay, dude? Tortillas are delicious. I don't know. That was kind of supposed to be a steak, but I don't know how to draw food. That's one of the things I hate about anime and like manga. Is food always looks so good in anime and manga, and I bet in Japan it really is. Now we're drawing eggs and toast. We're in a food mood right now, guys. Not gonna lie to you. Is food just easy to draw, or am I crazy? I thought for a second about pretending to draw or to attempt to draw hash browns, and I was like, that's too much. Hello? Oh, I got my eraser on again. So I'm gonna be a little open here, chat. I was like actually openly sexually harassed in my break room at work today. And like all my friends thought it was funny. And it's kind of fucking me up in my brain because I did not think it was funny. You know what I mean? And I don't really know what to do. Supervisors asked for a name when they found out, and I was like, I didn't mean to sexually harass me. There's an old lady who was like trying to do the equivalent of giving me like a spanking, but she slapped my ass. And that's like not okay, right? And it's kind of been fucking with me for a minute here. I don't know how to portray that these are onions, really, to be honest with you. And we got the big old slab of beef. So it's going to hang over just a little bit. This side's going to hang over a little bit more. And you got that nice, like, melted edge of cheese here. And then you're going to have your top bun, which I drew the bottom bun super wide. So the top bun also has to be super wide. And it's not okay, or I mean, it's totally okay that this bun is not like perfect, because most buns don't come out perfectly even, anyways. And you just kind of put like sesame seeds all over, right? I just had my interview today for a supervisor position again at my workplace, and I don't know how I feel about that either. You know what I mean? Because I had a interview last week for a different supervisor position, same place. They told me they wouldn't promote me for several months. But it was an area I'm not trained in. So I don't know. And when I went in and talked to them today, they were like, well, we're not saying you're not going to get it because you could get it. And I was like, well, one of the people who should be involved in this decision as well told me last week I would not be getting it. So I'm like, well, what happens if you don't get it? And I'm like, well, frankly, I've been told I'm not going to get it. And they're like, well, we're not saying that. And I was like, yes, but one of your peers is, and they're involved in this promotion. So I don't think I'm gonna get it, man. And they're like, well, what happens if you don't get it? And I'm like, I mean, business as usual. They're like, well, last time you didn't handle it so well. And I was like, well, last time was different because the thing I didn't handle well was you guys telling me that like I had the spot essentially, telling me I was one of your soups, blah 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 blah, and then I didn't get it, and you picked people who had less experience, who I don't feel like did anything better than me in any way, shape, or form because they were all newer, and I wasn't really provided like any valid feedback, right? And I've just kind of been like doing my thing. And yeah, like I don't really know what else you want me to say. Like I'm just if I don't get it, I'm just going to move on cuz clearly there's something here that you guys at least think you see. If you don't see, that's a problem with me as a person, that I can't be a soup at your warehouse. Uh and I don't know what it is because everybody else seems to think I'm a star. And they were like, well, it's not really that there's anything that you don't see. It's like, you, we just want to see that you stay consistent. And I was like, well, what about all those other people who didn't have to stay consistent because they got it immediately with less training, less eyes on them, blah, 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 blah. What about those guys? What, like, how did they just get a pass? It was not an answer. And I was like, okay, yeah, probably pushing a little too much here. We'll just stop. If I get the job, that's great. If I don't get the job, I probably won't apply for it anymore. Because um, the place I work at, they give pay raises based off of hours worked, and then they like every year they do another raise for like inflation or whatever, right? And I worked at this place for the longest I've ever worked anywhere, actually, approaching 3 years, and I'm almost to the point where I can't, like, the only raises I'll be getting here on out are the ones that I get from the yearly inflation raise, which sounds bad, but my last raise is going to be like a $6 to $7 raise. You know what I mean? Which is pretty dope. So like I'm not too concerned with getting that soup spot because the difference between soup pay annually and what my top out pay would be is only like $3,500. Um, I think is what the math was on that, which is not a lot. And I don't have to like move up to get those pay raises. I just have to keep working. I got about 18 months till I hit that mark, which a year and a half is a long time. And I did the math, and it winds up being like $25,000 I'd be missing between here and there. But also, my job is incredibly easy. Not saying that supervising, because I've supervised at this place before. I didn't actually have anybody who worked directly underneath me that responded to me specifically. Like I didn't have my own team, but I functioned as a supervisor, and I kind of did have my own team because the supervisor, there was a super that was just like not there all the time, who continues actually to not be there, and so I answered, or that team answered to me instead. I just didn't have to issue them reviews or anything. Um, and so yeah, like I don't know, man. This burger looks pretty delicious though, in my opinion. I actually didn't eat burgers for a long time. Like I hated burgers. I was anti-burger. And last year I had a, like, I wouldn't say party because it wasn't that many people. We had to get together, and I bought like a bunch of food and I made burgers, and I worked in restaurants for a long time. Another reason I'm scared to like talk in detail is because anybody who knows me who hears these things are gonna be like, oh, it's this person, it's XYZ, and I'm gonna be like, yep, you found me. Please don't find me. I'm small. Don't look for me. Don't Google draw everyday challenge because I've only told a couple people about it, and they're like, I want to watch your progression, and I was like, no, not allowed. So I'm trying to do my best to fill things in without using the magic selection tool, the magic wand, I think is what it's called. Trying not to do that today. I think I will have to do it for the upper bun just because of all of the seeds that I've drawn in before rather than after. I mean, I could just cover them up and then redraw them, but I don't want to do that. Sounds slightly annoying, so we're not going to do that. Hold on. Because you can see a little bit of the bun here. So I want to fill that in with like a light color. Anyways, yeah, I had this get together, and I made a bunch of food, and people came late, and they were like, "I don't really know if I want to eat," and I was like, "You know what? That's okay." And somebody was like, "Are you gonna eat?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll have these hot dogs that I made." And they're like, "You shouldn't have a hot dog. You should have a burger." And I was like, "I don't know, dude." And they're like, "Have you ever had a burger you've made?" And I said, "No, I don't eat burgers." And they're like, "Oh my God, your burgers are actually incredibly delicious. You should have one." So I did. And I was like, "Wow, you're right." And now I drink burgers. I eat burgers quite often. Um, yeah. I don't make burgers like this very often. Usually what it is I'll make like a lettuce burger. Lately I haven't even been doing that much. I'll just oh no, where's my brush at? Ah, I see. My brush is so big I can't see it in the screen. That makes sense actually. Um yeah, I'll often just actually make a burger just the patty because I'm a psychopath, and then I just eat that, you know. I like it because okay, I like it because it's less carb and fat heavy. You know, um, I mean burgers do have a lot of fat to them, but I almost exclusively use. I think it's 93 to 7%. 93% lean, 7% fat. I mean, I think that looks pretty delicious. Also, I'm like a cheddar guy. Like, fuck American. You know what I mean? Like, American is bad. Give me sharp cheddar. Give me two thick farmer's cut slices of Tillamook sharp cheddar. Slap that on that burger, and I love me some cheese. So, should we add a multiply layer and try and shade this in real quick? I think not. I think instead what we should do is we should just come up here real fast and like color this stuff. Okay. It's actually really easy to color this in with the G pen. I thought it was going to be a lot harder, but it's ooh, yikes. It's easier than using the brush, honestly. Probably because it's round, and if I use a rounded brush instead of this oddly shaped brush, it's not really oddly shaped if you look at like what brushes actually look like, but relative to a circle and what I'm used to, it's a little oddly shaped. Oh, I overdrew. I overdrew. It's alright. We're on layer 2, so I can erase it a little bit if I so desire. I also love me some eggs. I've been eating eggs forever. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I've actually eaten so many slices of cheese pizza in my life and cheese pizza with black olives. Those are my go-tos. That I average well over 2 slices of cheese pizza a day, guaranteed. I worked in, I mentioned that I worked in kitchens for a long time, but I primarily worked in places that served pizza. And even if they didn't primarily serve pizza, if they served pizza at all, that's where I usually worked. Like I worked at a cheesecake factory, and Cheesecake Factory has these like flatbread Neapolitan or whatever pizzas. And when I worked at Cheesecake Factory, I made pizzas there. I also made chicken there, um, like fried chicken. I made some French fries. I made Thai food. Uh, yeah. So I can cook, guys. I can cook. And I've spent most of my life as an adult working in establishments where I am a cook. And I actually enjoy cooking in my free time too. I didn't so much when I was a cook because, like, who wants to cook all day and then come home and cook for, another 2 hours? I've been cooking for 13 hours. Like, I've literally been cooking all day. Um, but now that, like, I don't work in food, even when I worked, I was about to out myself. I worked in a branch of this at my current job that has food, and even when I was doing that, I was like, I don't want to cook, dude. Screw that. All I'm doing is like, I'm not even doing any hard cooking work. I'm just like adding cheese and sauce and stuff to pizza. All the dough is frozen, but I was like, ugh, I hate it. I don't want to cook, man. I've been dealing with food all day, dude. I mean, when I was, I don't think I've talked about my ex very much here. I had an ex girlfriend that I lived with for a while that I was very fond of, to say the least. And I would cook for her, but like I wouldn't like cook for myself. And often we were both like, because we both worked in restaurants, we'd be both gassed from cooking, and we'd be like, let's just order food. And so we would not have money because we wouldn't want to cook after cooking all day, and we would just hemorrhage our paychecks on DoorDash, which was bad. But like, I make some good eggs, I make some good burgers, I make great fried chicken, I make good pizza. I don't have like a really good dough recipe for pizza, but I have like a good understanding of pizza philosophies outside of dough. I could get a dough recipe. I have a buddy who owns a pizza place that I worked at for a little bit, who said if I ever wanted to just like have his recipe, he would give it to me. But I don't know if I want to like dive down that rabbit hole. Also, because he's got like more of a New York style pizza, and I'm a deep dish guy. I love me some deep dish pizza, man. It's so good. I do want to apologize a little bit about yesterday's episode. I did mention that I was really exhausted at the end of the episode, and I remember like trying to say something, getting lost in what I was saying, and then just being confused, finishing the statement and being like, I don't think any of that made sense. And that's all right because I need immediately to go to bed. So that's what wound up happening. I got off, I laid down, and I went like almost immediately to sleep. My bad, guys. I've been wearing myself a little too thin these last few weeks, and it's catching up with me. Uh, Day 24. Foodie. There we go. Man, that burger does look pretty delicious, but even that the burger looks. Eat that up. We're gonna save this. Day 24. And we're gonna call the video here. I have been intending to watch more Line Sensei videos that are relevant to what I'm trying to draw, but his last episode I think was on feet. He's got an episode on hands. I'm actually pretty okay at drawing hands. I don't know why I don't just draw hands, but I'm not doing that. And he hasn't uploaded one this week. He should have uploaded yesterday, and there wasn't one. I checked before while I was cooking because I was going to listen to it. And it said I watched a video on like social horror, like anxiety and humiliation and stuff like that, and I thought I was gonna throw up. But we made it to the video and to the end of the video. So we'll be back tomorrow, hopefully a little bit earlier than today, because I'll be working earlier, be off earlier. But I do have a little event that I'm going to after work, so we'll see how that covers me. Hopefully I can get a video uploaded this work week that is not technically a day late. We will find out. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.